$18. For a hot dog, a tube of meat in a bun that cost them maybe $1.50 to make. You didn't order gold flakes. You didn't order caviar. You ordered the single most basic food ever invented. And they charged you $18 for it. And here's the part that'll really get you. You paid it happily, with a smile, and a napkin. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why that hot dog costs what it costs. And it's not random greed. It's one of the most brilliant, borderline evil pricing strategies in modern business. And once you see it, you will spot it absolutely everywhere. Quick note before we start. The prices I'm quoting are from public reporting on recent seasons. They vary by venue, and this is economics for fun, not financial advice. Okay, let's eat. First, let's clear something up. The hot dog is not expensive, making it cost the stadium almost nothing. A dog, a bun, a squirt of mustard, call it $1 or $2 tops. Even a fancy loaded one isn't costing them what you're paying. So how much of that price is pure profit? A lot. Industry estimates put the profit margin on a stadium hot dog around 70%. And drinks? Drinks are even crazier. Margins north of 90%. That beer, the soda, practically printing money in a cup. Now, to be fair, the average hot dog across baseball is actually about $5 or $6, but that's the average. At the worst offenders, a loaded specialty dog and a beer will run you $18 and $20 easy. One NFL stadium charges $18.50 for a single beer, almost $8 for a bottle of water, the stuff that falls out of the sky for free. There's a stadium in Texas selling a 2-foot-long hot dog for $36. I'm not joking. And here's a detail that says it all. At one ballpark, there's a Shake Shack. The exact same burger from the exact same chain costs more inside the stadium than it does at the Shake Shack 1 block away. Same burger, same company, different price. Why? That's the real question, not why it's expensive to make. It's cheap to make. The question is why they can get away with it. And that's where it gets interesting. The answer has a name. Economists call it captive audience pricing. And you are the captive. Think about where you are. You're inside a sealed building you paid to get in. Security took your outside food and drink at the door. And there is exactly one place to buy a hot dog. Them. There's no competition. You can't walk across the street to the cheaper stand because there is no across the street. You're locked in a box with a single seller. That's not a market. That's a monopoly. A tiny, delicious 40,000-seat monopoly. Normally, if a stand charged $18, you just walk to the one next door charging $6. That competition is the thing that keeps prices honest. Inside the stadium, that pressure is just gone. So they can charge whatever the hungriest, most trapped version of you will pay. And it gets worse the longer you're there. 7th inning, your kid's begging for food, you've got nowhere to go. The longer you're captive, the more you buy. They know that. A family of 4 at an NFL game now spends over $600 for the day. A lot of that? Not the tickets, the snacks. Here's how blatant this is. At airports, another place you're kind of trapped. A lot of them legally cap how much shops can mark things up. Street price plus maybe 10, 15% by law. Stadiums? No cap, none. They can charge whatever they want. And they do. And that no outside food rule at the door, they'll tell you it's about safety. Come on. A granola bar has never taken down a stadium. The real reason is a lot simpler. If you could just bring your own snacks, you wouldn't buy theirs. That rule isn't there to protect you. It's there to protect the $18 hot dog. They're not checking your bag for weapons. They're checking it for competition because the whole trick only works if you've got no other option. So step 1 is making sure you don't. Okay. So they can overcharge you. Now, the fun question, where does your $18 actually go? Because it is not one greedy hot dog guy pocketing it. Most teams don't even run their own food. They hire a giant concessions company. Names like Aramark, Levy, Legends. Those companies run the stands, hire the workers, cook the dogs, and in return, they split the money with the team. That split is a straight cut of every single sale. Depending on the deal, the team might take anywhere from 25 to over 40% of concession revenue for doing basically nothing except owning the building you're trapped in. Every hot dog, every beer, a slice to the vendor, a slice to the team. And these deals are enormous. Here's a real one. In 2025, Aramark signed a 20-year deal to run the food at a new Major League Baseball stadium, reportedly worth $175 million. And get this, $100 million of that was Aramark buying an ownership stake in the actual team. The hot dog vendor literally became a part owner of the franchise. That is how much money flows through those little snack counters. Nationwide, stadium concessions are a roughly $20 billion a year business off of hot dogs and beer. But here's the twist that flips the whole thing. The high food prices aren't an accident. They're the plan. Teams figured out something clever. A ticket price is scary. You see it before you buy, and it decides whether you even show up. So they keep the ticket looking as reasonable as they can, get you through the gate, and make the real money once you're inside and can't leave. The cheap-ish ticket is the bait. The $18 hot dog is the hook. Your snack spending quietly props up the whole operation. So it's genius, right? Well, here's where it gets really interesting. One team tried the exact opposite, and it might have broken the whole model. The Atlanta Falcons Stadium rolled out something called fan first pricing. $2 hot dogs, $5 beers, free refills, prices from like 95. Everyone said they'd lose a fortune. Instead, fans bought way more. Transactions jumped around 30%. People who used to smuggle in a granola bar were suddenly buying 3 rounds because it finally felt fair. They made it back on sheer volume, and they won over a stadium full of people who actually like them now. Which raises a very awkward question for everybody else. If fair pricing still makes money, what does that tell you about the $18 dog? So, why does a hot dog at the stadium cost $18? Not because it's expensive to make, not even because they're uniquely evil. It's because you're a captive audience. And captive audiences pay. One seller, no exit, no competition, and a price set by exactly how trapped you are. And now that you know the name for it, you are going to see it everywhere. The $9 water at the airport. The $8 popcorn at the movies that's 30 cents of actual corn. The $40 parking at the concert. The $200 churro afternoon at the theme park. Same exact trick. Every time. Trap the customer, kill the competition, name your price. The stadium hot dog is just the most honest version of it. So I've got to ask, what's the most you've ever paid for something dumb, purely because you were trapped and had 0 other options? Airport, stadium, movie theater. Drop it in the comments. I need to know I'm not the only one. And if you want the next one, I'm pretty sure the airport is even worse than the stadium. Hit subscribe, because we're turning Where Does Your Money Actually Go into a whole series. I'm Mr. Moolah. Enjoy your $18 hot dog.